to your time zones.
Thank you, Jhansi.
Ma'am, we have gone live. We are already live.
Still our speakers are still joining.
Yeah, ma'am. And can we start with the presentation by then? And who is
Okay, okay, Dr. Anjum, we'll start because the time is now gone. 36, 2036.
okay, okay. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I welcome the founder of this great Global Great Peace Conference, Dr. Syed F. Hanifuddin ma'am, and all the speakers who have joined from all over the world to share your views on this fourth day of the Great Global Peace Conference. Firstly, we will begin with the presentation, and after that, we will have the speakers. So I will just playing the presentation. Just give me a minute. I'm sharing the screen. So once again, I welcome you all, and I think by now some of our speakers have joined. So once again, I welcome the chairperson to the Global United for Peace and Justice, Dr. Syed Hanifuddin ma'am. And ma'am, should we start with your speech now, or we can call the speakers? Ma'am, I hope I'm audible.
Sorry. Can you? Hello, audible. I will
Yes.
start my welcoming speech, dear.
Okay, okay. After that, we can call. Okay.
The Global Great Peace Conference 2023. Dear friends, wish you all the best. Today is the 4th day of the conference. At this time, happy to be able to hold this conference very successfully for about 3 days and 3 days with 8 hours. We would like to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt thanks to all our speakers. Our speakers for working with big community commitment towards their social mission. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Also to all the invited teachers and invited guest speakers who have come to participate in today's convention. We offer our respectful greetings and heartfelt thanks too. Even at this moment, when this conference is being held, it regrettable that there are dispute or conflict situation in any places in the world we live in. The main purpose of our conference should be to request our influence the people of the world and the responsible parties that the war situation, conflict situation, riots, discrimination, and all forms of injustice should be stopped or prevented, and peace should be established throughout the world. Should have done. The main purpose of our conference should be to request to influence the people of the world and the responsible parties that the war situations, conflict situation, riots, discrimination, and all forms of injustice should be stopped or prevented, and peace should be established throughout the world. Today, 8 guest speakers are going to address the conference to be held today. Each preacher is entitled to a time limit of 12 to 15 minutes, and without any interruptions, the conference should be make arrangement to the provide that time limit. At the moment in country like Africa, it is a daytime, but some countries are spending it at night. And while some other countries spend the early morning too. It is our responsibility to maintain the activities of the day that is not fair to any of these preachers. Today, under these under 3 main topics, the speakers are going to hold lectures by the decades. Topics are we already done 7 topics, 6 topics. Today is the 7th one. Israel, occupation and the of the Palestinian people. The 8th one is war and crisis in Syria. The 9th one is refugees as throughout the world. Wishing you all good day and success. I will end my welcome speech here. May world peace prevail. May the peaceful people should have to win our peaceful world. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Croix.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. And yes, as said by ma'am, that one of the mottos of this conference is to ensure peace all around the world. And before starting now, yes.
I am sorry to say, I think Dr. Anjum have other duties. So you can, if you want, you can leave from the conference. Our Dr. Emmanuel is present at 9.
Yes,
Yeah.
Dr. Emmanuel has joined.
Thanks, Dr. Anjum Qureshi, for your supportive and your kindness too. Thank you. Dr. Emmanuel. Dr. Emmanuel, can you hear me?
Hello.
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 Dr. Emmanuel, can you
Yes.
hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I can
Now
hear
you can work as a host. Because our doctor, she was already
Okay.
for me.
Thank
So
you very much.
we should
let-
thank to her.
Dr. Ajum for making it before me. So I appreciate your work. I appreciate the job well done. Thank you very much. I'm having an erratic network in Malawi, but thank you very much for starting the meeting. And let me also welcome Dr. Said, the director, the chairperson of our organization worldwide. Thank you very much. And let me also humbly thank everyone who have already come and is online this time for our fourth time of our conference today. Thank you very much. You are so much welcome. This is our time that we have to tell the world that there is we need peace, that we need peace all over the world. In every country, we need peace. Our children, our women, everyone all over the world, they're suffering from the instability that are being taking place in different countries, and also the rights violation that our people are facing in different countries. So I thank you everyone for attending this one. Let's keep company till to the end of our conference today. Thank you very much, Dr. Saidi. Thank you. Now we'll start by having some speeches, and the first one will be from India, and this one is we are talking about today. We'll be looking into Syria. We'll be looking into Iran. We'll be looking into different places. So our first speaker will be from India, and this one is Sushmita Gosha. Dr. Sushmita Gosha. I don't know if I'm right with the pronunciation. Hello. Yes.
Hi,
welcome.
how are you?
I'm so good.
Hi,
And
how are you,
ma'am?
dear?
I'm good, ma'am. And how are you guys doing?
We are all good.
Fine.
We are all good.
So may I start?
Yeah, okay, dear.
Yes, it's your time.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me this platform. I'm extremely grateful to Dr. Sayyad Hanifuddin, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to present my speech on the theme of war and crisis in Syria. And this is a wonderful opportunity for me as I am having the platform as a speaker. So extremely grateful and thankful. And now I'm going to start my speech. So the war and crisis in Syria is a very complex and ongoing conflict which had devastating consequences for the Syrian people and the region as a whole. It began in 2011 as a part of the wider Arab Spring protests, with Syrians demanding political reforms and an end to the authoritarian rule of President Bashar al-Assad. The conflict quickly escalated into a full-scale civil war involving multiple factors with competing interests. The Syrian government, backed by its allies, including Russia and Iran, has been fighting against various opposition groups, including the Free Syrian Army, Islamist factions, Kurdish forces. Additionally, extremist groups such as the Islamic State, ISIS, emerged and seized large parts of Syria and Iraq, further complicating the situation. The conflict has resulted in a massive humanitarian crisis. Millions of Syrians have been displaced internally or forced to seek refuge in neighboring countries and beyond. Cities and towns have been destroyed, infrastructure has collapsed, the economy has been shattered. The use of chemical weapons and indiscriminate bombings have caused significant loss of civilian lives and have been widely condemned by the international community. The war in Syria has also few regional and global implications. It has drawn in various external actors, leading to a complex wave of alliances and rivalries. Russia's military intervention in 2015 turned the tide of the war in the favor of Syrian government, while the United States and its allies have supported some opposition groups and conducted airstrikes against ISIS. Turkey has been involved in the conflict, primarily targeting Kurdish forces along its border. These dynamics have raised tensions between major powers and increased the risk of direct confrontations. Efforts to find a political solution to the conflict have been challenging. Numerous international initiatives, including the Geneva peace talks and Astana process led by Russia, Turkey, and Iran, have been largely unsuccessful in bringing about a lasting resolution. The United Nations has been involved in mediation efforts, but finding common ground among the warring parties has proven extremely difficult. It is important to note that the Syrian conflict is highly complex. Finding a sustainable solution requires the commitment and cooperation of various stakeholders across the world, including the Syrian government, opposition groups, regional powers, and the international community. What the probable solutions can be? What are those? Let's talk about the solutions. The war in Syria is a complex and multifaceted conflict involving various internal and external actors. Finding a comprehensive solution to the war requires addressing the underlying causes and involving all relevant stakeholders. Here are some of the potential solutions that have been proposed. Diplomatic negotiations and peace talks. Facilitating negotiations between the Syrian government and opposition groups with the assistance of international mediators is crucial. Diplomatic efforts should aim to establish a political transition, agree on a ceasefire, and reach a lasting peace agreement. Humanitarian aid and relief efforts. Providing humanitarian assistance to the affected population is very crucial. Ensuring access to food, water, shelter, healthcare, and education for Syrians in need is crucial to alleviate the suffering caused by the long war. International cooperation. Encouraging collaboration among regional and global powers is vital. Involvement and cooperation from countries like Russia, the United States, Turkey, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and others can help in finding a common ground for resolution. Accountability and justice. Pursuing accountability for war crimes, human rights abuses, and violations of international law is crucial for promoting justice and reconciliations. Establishing credible mechanisms to investigate and prosecute those responsible can contribute to a sense of justice among the affected communities. support for political transition, assisting the Syrian government and opposition groups in establishing a transitional government that represents all segments of society is vital. This can help create a framework for a more inclusive and democratic political system that addresses the grievance of various factors. Demilitarization and disarmament. Implementing measures to control and reduce the presence of armed groups, including both government and non-state actors, is very essential. This may involve disarmament initiatives, demobilization of fighters, and efforts to prevent the flow of weapons into the country. Reconstruction and economic development. Supporting post-war reconstruction efforts and promoting economic development can contribute to stability and the return of displaced populations. International aid, investment, and partnerships can help rebuild infrastructure, revive the economy, and provide job opportunities. Refugees and displaced persons. Addressing the needs of refugees and internally displaced persons is very crucial. Providing support for their return, resettlement, or integration, including assistance with housing, education, and livelihoods, is very essential for long-term stability. It is important to note that the Syrian conflict is highly complex, and finding a sustainable solution requires the commitment and cooperation of various stakeholders, including the Syrian government and opposition groups, regional powers, and the international community. Thank you very much. Here I conclude.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's really very important. Thank you very much, Dr. Ghosh from India.
Thank you so much,
It's an
Emmanuel sir. It's pleasing, very pleasing for me that you like the concept.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We'll need you next time when we are having another conference. Thank you very much. You are so much welcome, ma'am. Thank you. Let me now make a special announcement to the group. Today, we planned that we are going to have the chief guest from Sri Lanka, who is the former parliamentarian member of Sri Lanka. This was Mr. Vasudeva Nanayakara from Sri Lanka. But unfortunately, we have received a message that he's not feeling well. He's sick today. That means he's not going to participate to deliver his speech as the chief guest speaker today. So this is our special announcement in our conference today, that the guest speaker will not be available today. Why? Because he's not feeling well. We have received a message from him that he will not be available today. So we will continue our conference with the speakers. Dr. Said, do you have anything to say on this before we proceed? Dr. Said, do you have anything?
Dr. Manuel, I can't hear your voice clearly, dear.
Okay, I think that's the problem of the network. Can you hear me?
Not clear. Your voice is not clear to me.
Oh, so I think it's simply the network problem. It's the network problem.
Can you repeat it?
I said that I had a special announcement about our chief guest speaker today, that we have been communicated that he's not feeling well today. That means he's not able to come and give us his speech as a guest, as a chief guest today from Sri Lanka. So I said that, okay, once he is not available, do you have anything to say on behalf of him?
Yeah, dear, he was informed two days ago he was sick because he is 83 or 84 years old, so, but very active person. But he was informed me, I'm sorry, I can't participate in the conference because due to them I am so sick. So we wished to him because he was inform us. Some people they won't inform anything if they won't come participate in conference, won't inform us. That is very bad. But this person is already informed me.
That's
we should appreciate.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We should appreciate him.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay,
thank you. Yeah, so we can continue with the speakers. And this time, let me humbly welcome Dr. Shazia Tashmem from India again to give us the speech for today. Dr. Shazia Tashmem from India. Are you available?
Dr. Shazia, are you there?
No, she's not there. She's not there. You can go for the next speaker.
So we'll take next one.
Okay, thank you.
If she
thank
come.
you. Okay, thank you. If he will join. Let me now humbly call upon Dr. Shagufta Jabin from Pakistan. Dr. Shagufta Jabin from Pakistan. Is he available? From Pakistan, is he here with us?
Yeah, she's here. Dr. Shagufta Jabin.
Hello. Hello, assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
So,
you are audible, ma'am.
Good evening. Keeping in mind different time zones that we're in. First of all, thank you very much, Dr. Syed, for organizing this crucially important peace conference. And I really feel honored being here and speaking on this very, very important topic. So, talking of Syria, my stance will be that of a humanitarian only, focusing on global humanity and peace. So I will not dwell on how it started, as the other speaker has already well explained different sides of reality. I rather would like to focus on the impact of the conflict and the tragic consequences of the war in the country have caused immense suffering and devastation, resulting in an enormous humanitarian crisis that demands immediate attention and concerted efforts towards the sustainable peace. The unimaginable suffering inflicted upon the innocent civilians, men, women, and children, the destruction of infrastructure, the disregard for human rights are horrifying. And these have further contributed to the poverty, lack of economic opportunities, and social inequalities in Syria. So here, I believe the world ought to respond to stop these atrocities for the sake of global humanity and peace. We must realize that Syrians' displacement has led towards the wastage of human and intellectual capital globally. Around 7 million Syrian refugees registered worldwide are the evidence of the most tragic consequences of the conflict, now being considered as one of the largest refugee crises in the recent history. Plus, millions more internally displaced Syrians fleeing violence and seeking safety within their own homeland. That's the scale of disappointment and displacement. And the lives of the refugees are all dictated by denials. Denials to safety, denials to access to basic necessities, denials to education, denials to employment. So the relevant statistics can always be accessed through the UNHCR reports and studies. So I'm not going to dwell on those statistics. The displacement of the millions of the Syrians, both internally as well as refugees, has led to a significant loss of skilled professionals, including engineers, technicians, specialists in various industries. And then next, if you see this brain drain further hinders Syria's ability to exploit its resources and develop its economy. It's important to note that Syria possesses significant natural resources, including oil, gas, agriculture resources. However, the ongoing conflict, destruction of infrastructure, displacement, economic decline, international sanctions, insecurities, and political challenges have collectively paralyzed Syria's ability to harness these resources for the benefit of its own people and for the development of its own country. So why should a country not be allowed to utilize its own resources? I mean, this is a big question mark. Why? Imagine you not having control over your own household matters and over your own earning. I mean, this is outrageous. So I believe that each country should have the liberty to utilize its own resources. Instead of addressing the underlying causes of the conflict and working towards a sustainable political solution, so instead of looking at the causes, now we have to move towards the possible solutions. And what crucial steps should we take to create a conducive environment for Syria to regain control over its resources and utilize them for the country's reconstruction and development. So at the same time, we also must not ignore the limited capacity of the host countries, whether it's Turkey, Lebanon, Jordan. Although resettlement programs have provided opportunities for a limited number of Syrian refugees to find new homes and to rebuild their lives in certain countries, for example, Canada, Germany, and the United States. And then there are these integration efforts, including language training, job placement, community support, and I mean, these are crucial to help refugees rebuild their lives and contribute to their host societies. The strain on the host countries' resources, their infrastructure, their social services has been immense due to these resettlement and integration efforts. And these definitely pose different sort of challenges to their own development and stability. So it's very important that international community helps Syria stand on its own feet. Now, so while we're talking about all these issues, I do see, like, in the middle of this darkness, it's our collective responsibility to kindle the light of hope and seek the viable paths towards global humanity and peace. I mean, we can look at political solution. It is essential to emphasize the need for an inclusive and comprehensive political solution. A sustainable peace in Syria can only be achieved through dialogue and negotiation, involving all the relevant stakeholders. This includes the representatives from the Syrian government, the opposition groups, the regional powers, and the international community, of course. Now, facilitated by United Nations, keeping in mind the aspirations and interests of all the Syrians, regardless of their background or affiliations, I believe that UN should be putting a positive role here. Now, furthermore, we also need to look at the accountability and justice for the perpetrators of the atrocities. I mean, it must be pursued vigorously. Those responsible for the war crimes, responsible for the crimes against humanity, and other violations of international law must face legal consequences. So who's going to put, these, all these bodies and people to these consequences? This not only serves as a deterrent to the future atrocities, but also it will send a message of solidarity and support to the victims, fostering a sense of justice and closure to what is going on now. I must give my stance here that there is no government system which would serve as one fit for all. I mean, the countries have different socioeconomic and geopolitical contexts. We have examples of countries who went pragmatic and remained successful. I mean, take example of Singapore. So let's not forget what happened in Iraq, what happened in Libya, and other such countries where non-state and the foreign actors intervened in the name of peace and progress. And I put peace and progress in quotation mark. So please ask yourself, are these countries better in any capacity now after such interferences? The statistics and data on the war casualties, destruction of infrastructure, and corruption of societal values, social values, moral values are openly available to the world to ponder upon. Is this what we want to go for? So Syria should be at liberty to decide about their political and governing system instead of being spoon-fed on policies and intentions. So at the same time, I also look at international support being very crucial for global humanity. The international community has a crucial role to play in achieving the global humanity by supporting Syria's recovery and reconstruction, transcending all differences. So there is need to mobilize financial resources, technical expertise, humanitarian aid to assist in rebuilding the country and rehabilitating its war-torn communities. To be done with a long-term perspective in mind, focusing on sustainable development, reconciliation, and reintegration of displaced individuals. It is vital to establish safe zones, enforce ceasefire, and actively engage in peacekeeping efforts to prevent further violence and protect vulnerable populations. Through inclusive political dialogue, protection of civilians, sustainable development, accountability, and international support, the groundwork for peaceful and prosperous Syria can be laid out. So I believe that only these measures can reduce the likelihood of future conflicts and pave way for the peace and stability in Syria. So with that, all I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have been listening from Dr. Shagufta Jabin from India with
From Pakistan.
from Pakistan. Sorry, from Pakistan. Welcome, ma'am. So it's quite interesting because she has highlighted the major areas that can bring peace in Syria, and also the impact that has been there due to the conflict that has taken a long time there. So from her speech, it simply shows that a lot of people are suffering. People are suffering, and even the country itself, its economy is not stable. Why? Because there's those fighting, those conflicts, the children are suffering. They will not be able to go to school. Even women are not able to be empowered. And a lot of things are happening there. So Dr. Shagufta from Pakistan has highlighted some of the ways that can bring peace in Syria. So thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am, for a very good highlight on the conflict of Syria. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Emmanuel, and thank you, Dr. Sayed, again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. You are welcome. You are welcome. Let me now, this time, let me call upon Dr. Harira Shiham, and this one is from Morocco. Dr. Harira Shiham from Morocco. Are you with us, Dr. Shalila Shiham from Morocco? Are you with us? Are you in the house? Dr. Harila Shiham from Morocco. Dr. Harila, are you with us today in the conference?
He's not there, sir. He's not there.
Oh, she's not there.
No.
She's
So
not
can
there. Okay.
Joshua,
Thank you, Dr.
sir.
Jum.
Joshua. Please invite Joshua,
Josh,
sir.
Joshua?
Yes,
from
from
Sierra
Sierra
Leone.
Leone. Yeah.
Okay. So let me humbly call for Joshua from Sierra Leone. Dr. Joshua from
She's
Sierra Leone.
absent, I think.
Hello?
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
We clearly, loud and clear.
Oh, praise God.
Yes.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all, wherever you are getting us from. I am Ambassador Dr. Joshua Melchizedek Bawo. I am the founder for Melchizedek Foundation for Peace and Human Rights in Sierra Leone, a peace activist. Thank you very much for having me. Well, talking about the Syrian atrocities, country in the Middle East, which is heavily destroyed by the Islamic State militia attacks, civil war, and isolated by the international community. Over the past decade, Syria is still struggling to restore order in its territory as the Islamic State insurgency is still ongoing. And Syria had experienced atrocities, as Anita earlier said, and even government suppression or the government suppressing its citizens, rights violations occurred in everywhere from the government side and even the jihadi side, and also from the rebel groups. They are all contributed to human rights violations in Syria. Also, we have been seeing some arbitrary arrests, detention of journalists or human rights activists, or even execution of people without any proper trial, etc., etc. But the continued atrocity in Syria is what we are really looking at, starting with human rights violation during the Civil War. And now when we talk about the human rights violation during the Syrian war, there have been numerous and serious violations of human rights. That's according to the United Nations report, stating that the war has been characterized by a complete lack of adherence to the norms of international law by the warring parties, who have caused civilians miserably suffering. For a relatively small number of these war crimes, persecution of Syrian civil war criminals has resulted. Also, the casualty of the Syrian civil war has been great. According to United Nations envoy to Syria, Safadin, who stated in April 2016 that around 400,000 people have died in the conflict. In December 2016, about 450,000 Syrians were estimated to have been killed. 4.8 million Syrians fled the country. Now they are refugees living in other nations. 6.3 million were internally displaced within Syria, and 13.5 million required humanitarian assistance. The war has been marked by devastation and extreme suffering among civilians, women and children who've been the focal people of disaster or who are the vulnerable in terms of conflict. So they have no help, they are helpless, they are vulnerable, and there is no one who can come to their aid when there is disaster in a nation. Okay. And international groups has been monitoring, human rights organization groups have been monitoring. As I said, the war was marked by devastation and extreme suffering among civilians, and international groups have long denounced the discrimination or the discriminated brutality that has characterized the conflict. Also, in March 2017, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported that 450,000 people had died in the conflict, of which 96,000 civilians and an additional 145,000 civilians were missing. And that's according to various human rights organizations and also the United Nations, that human rights violation has been committed by both the governments and the rebels and also the jihadist groups in Syria, with the vast majority of abuses have been committed by the Syrian government. Now, the UN Commission for Human Rights are investigating human rights abuses in Syria, confirms that at least 9 intentional mass killings in the periods between 2012 to mid-July 2013, identifying the perpetrator as the Syrian government and its supporters in 8 cases, and the opposition in 1. Also, the United Nations has conducted several further studies. The Assad used chemical weapons, torture, and extrajudicial killings. Even crime against humanity has been committed by Assad and his government, and also to the jihadi side. Assad has also used indiscriminate and disproportionate areas, bombardment, and shelling, which led to mass civilian casualty and spread terror. And also the brutal repression, human rights abuses, war crimes, and crimes against humanity perpetrated by Assad regime throughout the course of the conflict has led to international condemnation and widespread calls to convict Bashar al-Assad in the International Criminal Court, which is the ICC. War crimes committed by the rebel groups, including recruiting child soldiers, killing civilian populated areas, kidnapping and murdering members of the community, members of the civil society, also human rights activists or even journalists who are covering the war from Syria has been tortured and some have been killed. And some of the way that we will discuss for this war or the atrocity to end is engaging both sides, the government and even the jihadist side or the rebel groups. The United Nations, international community, and human rights organizations need to table these two parties to a table and really talk with them in order to stop the atrocity in Syria. Because as long as the fight is ongoing, the masses, especially the vulnerable, who are the youth, the children, and the women, are the most vulnerable who are suffering from the atrocity. So the United Nations, with its partners, need to do more in order to stop the atrocity in Syria. So I want to thank you all for patiently listening to me from Sierra Leone. And my recommendation is the United Nations should condemn both sides and bring them to the table so that they will negotiate this, how to bring to an end of the atrocity in Syria, and which will help the young generation coming up for their future not to be gruesome. Because if the atrocity continue, the future of the children or the upcoming generation will be blank and blink. Thank you very much. God bless you. I am Ambassador Dr. Joshua Mekizedek-Bawor. I am the founder for Mekizedek Foundation for Peace and Human Rights. It has been a pleasure to me to add my voice to the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joshua from Sierra Leone, for a very good highlight, for a very good opinion on the conflict that is taking place in Syria. That your suggestion is that the United Nations should bring them together on one table to have a round table discussion how they can end the conflict there, because a lot of people, a lot of children, a lot of women, A lot of the sick people, disabled people, and many others are suffering there for years. Now, what we are seeing that the children are not able to go to school. So this is now making things worse because the future generation of Syria will not be educated. Why? Because of the conflict that has been endless for years and years. So I appreciate your suggestion that the UN, the United Nations, should make sure that it brings together these two fighting sides and have a roundtable discussion and see how best they can end the conflict there. Thank you very much, my brother, Dr. Joshua from Sierra Leone, for your highlight. Thank you very much. Thank you. And now, I don't know if Dr. Halila Shiham from Morocco is now available. Dr. Halila Shiham, are you available now? From Morocco. Okay. If he is not still there, let me now call upon our 50th speaker, and this one is Hamuli Mungukonkwa. This one is from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Hamuli Mungukonkwa from DRC. Are you there, my brother? Hello? Are you there, my brother, from DRC? Hamuli Mungukonkwa from DRC. Are you there? Okay, it seems he's not there. So let me now call Professor Dr. Shiham Al-Kafafi from Nigeria. Is it Nigeria or neither? Is it Nigeria or New Zealand? Dr. Al-Kafafi?
Dr. Manuel.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Manuel.
Yes. I can hear you, ma'am.
Yeah, dear. Now you can start your he'll come. Okay.
Okay.
Now
Okay. Okay.
in Nigeria now the time is I think 5 a.m., 4 a.m. So I will call. She was informed. Please call her.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I will call her.
Okay. Thank you. I will call her after my speech. I will call her after my speech.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, ma'am. I'll talk on Israel. All of us, we know that Israel and the Palestinians have been fighting for a long time. I understand when I was very, very young, I was listening to the radio, reading the newspaper, and many other social medias by then.